Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a massively complex geopolitical triangle today. We are looking closely at the escalating dynamics between the United States and Iran, and perhaps most intriguingly, Pakistan's ongoing mediation efforts to step in and try to cool things down. There are incredibly high stakes here, so to really understand what's happening on the ground and out at sea, we need to map this out clearly.
So you might be wondering, what are the actual stakes here? Could these tensions between the US and Iran actually disrupt global oil? Well, yeah, absolutely. It's super easy to look at geopolitical standoffs as just distant political maneuvering. But when these actions threaten to disrupt global oil supplies, the ripple effects hit us all. Everything from international shipping costs to the price of gas at your local pump. We're talking about the fuel that literally powers global trade.
Let's jump straight into Section 1, USA versus Iran and their rising tensions.
To figure out what's driving this, we have to look at the foundation of the conflict, which is heavily rooted in disputes over the nuclear program. Since the collapse of the 2015 JCPOA nuclear deal, things have steadily intensified. We're talking about Iran reportedly enriching uranium up to 60%, which is, edging right up to weapons-grade levels. This specific acceleration triggered aggressive U.S. sanctions and forms the absolute core of the disagreement. If you want to understand why temperatures are rising right now, you have to look back at these specific enrichment thresholds, because it's the root cause from which all the subsequent actions stem.
Which brings us to part 2, the oil and nuclear dispute, and how that translates to real actions at sea.
Out on the water, the situation has devolved into a classic tit-for-tat escalation. On one hand, the United States has physically stopped and seized Iranian oil tankers, like the Suez Rajan, citing strict violations of international sanctions. But on the exact opposite side, Iran fiercely condemns these moves. They've formally declared the seizure of their vessels to be completely illegal and have often responded in kind by intercepting foreign-flagged vessels. Now, we aren't here to take a side, but rather to look at the facts of the dispute. An enforcement action was taken by the U.S., and a fierce legal and political rejection of that action was issued by Iran.
And all of this is happening right around the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this isn't just some random waterway. It's a critical choke point. Think about it. Roughly 20 to 30% of the world's daily oil consumption passes right through here. Because of these escalating tensions and tanker seizures, this highly specific vital geographic location is under direct threat. If this friction spills over into the strait in a prolonged way, it threatens the very ships that keep the global economy moving. The stakes literally couldn't be higher when you have military tension layered right over top of a major global energy artery. Now for a really fascinating twist in Section 3. Pakistan steps in with peacemaking efforts.
With all this volatility, Pakistan is actively stepping up to act as a peacemaker by hosting talks in Islamabad. But man, diplomacy is an uphill battle. Trying to find common ground between Washington and Tehran requires threading a very, very small needle. Several key meetings have faced significant delays or outright cancellations, and as of right now, no final agreement has been reached. It just goes to show how insanely difficult it is to get entrenched parties to the negotiating table, let alone walk away with a finalized handshake.
So, managing our expectations is crucial here. Peacemaking is rarely a straight line. It's a fragile reality, full of sudden stops, delayed meetings, and rocky diplomatic roads. Getting deeply entrenched parties to fundamentally shift their stances takes a lot of time and immense political capital. Pakistan was making a huge effort to act as a crucial bridge, but the reality of forging peace when tensions are this historically high means progress is going to be slow and unpredictable.
Let's look at the macro-level reality on the ground right now in Section 4. The current status, tense but talking.
The good news? We aren't looking at a full-scale war. We can definitely breathe a little sigh of relief that the worst-case scenario hasn't been realized. But make no mistake, the environment is incredibly tense. It's the state of uneasy suspension. The diplomatic channels are open, sure, but that underlying threat remains actively present while these talks continue. It is a delicate balancing act where every single move in the region carries immense weight. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a pivotal question to chew on. We've mapped out the 60% uranium enrichment dispute, the seized tankers, the massive stakes in the Strait of Hormuz, and Pakistan's rocky road to mediate. So what does this all mean? Ultimately, can these ongoing, incredibly fragile negotiations race ahead and outpace the lingering, very real threat of escalation? Can talking actually prevent a boiling point? It is going to be a fascinating dynamic to watch unfold. Thank you so much for joining me to break this all down today, and definitely keep an eye on how these diplomatic efforts progress.